call me John's brother, Foreman. How are you, sir?
You can call me John's brother.
Yeah, I am my own man, Jayar. How are you, too? It's good. I appreciate the time.
I'm doing great, man. We're so stoked that the album is finally released.
You guys, I think it was many years ago, you guys bought the studio not too far from where you guys live there in San Diego, and so it kind of freed up the process to be able to go create whatever you want. Is that kind of accurate?
Yeah, it sounds so much nicer than it is when you say bought the studio. It's a warehouse that we gutted, and then we record music in it. But the amazing thing is it actually sounds really good.
Big congrats to you.
Oh, thank you, man. We're so happy with how everything came out. It was such a ambitious undertaking for us, to make not just an album, but a film and an album at the same time. Spent the better part of 3 years on the project, and it's such a great feeling to have it all finally released. The two projects are separate, but part of the same project. So the film released in the middle of December, and it's available on iTunes, our website, Amazon, all those good places. And now the album is finally released too. And they definitely go hand in hand together, and the album really tells the journey that we've been on as well as the film does.
Obviously, you guys are San Diego. You guys are Cali through and through. I know you will say that it would never happen, but is there one realistic place outside of California that one day you could see yourself living?
No, man. I mean, as much as I love California, there's some amazing places on this planet that we've had the honor of visiting. So, the first things that come to mind for me are Australia, New Zealand, places that are still very much tied to the ocean.
So Nebraska's out.
Yeah, sorry, Nebraska.
Is there some DNA for kind of who we are, where the heart behind who we are came from, and who are the kids? Are these the
Bro-Am? Actually, those are our kids singing on that song.
Oh, wow, okay.
We have growing families at home, and I've got a couple of kids myself, and it's such a special thing to be able to involve them like that on the album and to have them sing on the song, and it really adds a neat effect to the melody and the chorus as well. But yeah, that song for me reminds me of when we first started out as a band. It was just the three of us, John, Chad, and myself, riding around the country in a minivan. Yeah. So it talked a little bit about that in the song, and for me it kind of captures that time in life where you're dumb enough to try to do things differently and to try and go out and change the world, and that's probably the only way the world has ever changed.
You guys have been together for at least 17 years now. What is it going to take for them to pry that bass out of your hands in your guess? Would it be something body, mind, money, boredom, maybe the road? If you could guess years from now when you hang it up, what would you guess that thing would be?
Gosh.
That's morbid.
I think if I was to have to let go of the bass, it'd have to be someone would have to be handing me a surfboard, maybe a pair of drumsticks.
Right.
Because, every musician secretly wishes they were a drummer.
Right. So you don't think, like, on a serious note, Tim, you've been doing this for almost 2 decades. You don't think there will ever come a day where you just, all right, that was amazing. Something else.
No, I mean, I think, everything has a beginning and an end. Especially bands, we've always just kind of taken this one album at a time, one tour at a time, one day at a time, and the whole thing just feels like one incredible gift that if I was to wake up and realize I was dreaming and I'm actually still in high school, that would not seem that unbelievable to me. So we're so thankful, and we don't take it for granted. But at some point that day will come, and I think that as long as we still have stories to tell and songs that we believe in that feel important to get out there, then I'm sure we'll be doing this in some way, shape, or form for a while.
I know that your brother John would say the day he snuck into a U2 show in London, but Tim, greatest day in Switchfoot's history for you?
Oftentimes it's the things that innocently pass by your radar that you don't think much of at the time that end up being some of the more special moments. I'm thinking of some of the smaller, tiny rock clubs we played, where you just can shoehorn in maybe a couple hundred people and the place feels absolutely packed. That those end up sometimes being more memorable than playing Madison Square Garden, for instance.
Right. Yeah, I've seen you guys for years and years at big venues, all these, festivals and stuff like that. But I was doing a morning show, Top 40 station in Boise, Idaho, and I just remember it was pouring down rain, and listeners were calling me the next morning saying that I think it was you and John went out in the alley and just played for these kids that couldn't get in. And I'm like, I love being able to tell those stories to your audience, especially it was a non-Christian audience, and so to see these guys just loving on kids was just awesome for me to be able to tell that story on the air the next day. So
that's so cool, man. I mean, those are the moments that you remember, Yeah. Those moments where it's just with a handful of kids, everyone singing the same song. Yeah, and those are the things that you can't kind of script, you can't plan them out, they just happen.
You guys have a different 9 to 5 than most people, and so for you personally, where would you find kind of spiritual influence? Is it more of a corporate body at home? Is it on the road with somebody you trust? Is it nature? Is it a close relationship? What is that for you for a spiritual feed side with your schedule?
Yeah, I mean, consistency there is the tricky thing because it's all of those things depending on where I am. But I think the most consistent element of that would be nature, and that when I'm on tour or when I'm home, if I can kind of, at home it's the ocean, and on tour it's maybe going for a walk or a hike, and being able to get alone and pray and think and feel God's presence outside of the busyness of the lives that we lead is super important for me.
I know you guys are such pals. Very rare for a band to be that tight together. Is there ever a dramatic moment during the process of picking potential songs for an album that things actually get tense between the guys, you and your brother, or who? I mean, I've talked to the Need to Breathe guys, and those guys come to blows. Does that ever happen with you guys?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been a while since John and I actually came to blows. That's probably going back to high school days. But we're all so passionate about what we do in these songs, and I think for us, the important thing is being able to recognize that passion, that friction, that's a good thing. And the worst thing in the world for a band is when people stop caring. And so I think we've gotten better over the years at, in those moments of tension, to recognize that actually it's a good thing that we all care so much. Let's use that as a catalyst to build something great rather than just to tear it down.
The new album is out called Fading West. You can check out the film that goes along with it. And nearly 2 decades now, Tim, myself, and many others been just loving the great songs you guys have been putting out. So I appreciate your sweat and always appreciate the time.
Hey, thanks so much. Nice talking to you.
The Q 90.1.